almost like behaving really unprofessionally, I think is the nicest way of putting it. The Merit System Protection Board people, the people that wrote this, the statements that they're making, the way that they're making them, the way that they're phrasing them, it's just really unprofessional and very callous. A lot of callous disregard going on and very slanted. So I'm not even really going to get into it because I've already kind of covered it, especially the part about how there was this lawyer, there was unethical behavior, there was unprofessional behavior. I did fire that lawyer, essentially, because I could see that this person was not helping me, and it was an easy decision for me to make at that point. Again, I never reported the lawyer to a lawyer oversight organization. There was a time limit to do it that was pretty narrow, and in my opinion, and it was more trouble than it was worth. So then it starts to basically justify their decision and says that there's this case that's similar to mine where the lawyer, the person bringing the appeal said that basically said the same thing I said about the lawyer problems, and they just blew them off too. That's basically it. And they basically make a lot of excuses through all this with a lot of legalese in different cases about why it's justifiable to deny me any kind of justice or assistance. And again, justice delayed is justice denied. This has been almost 10 years since all of this took place. And what are you really going to do at this point? The whistleblower retaliation was almost 10 years ago. That everyone in the whole situation have literally moved on. What would the government even do? I mean, they likely aren't going to fire anyone who needs to be fired. They want to perpetuate the dysfunction. So, what are they really going to do about it? Even if they had approved this, they're not going to do anything. So, they continue to just make excuses and say things that I don't agree with and that I don't think are very professional. Given the fact that they're in positions of power, I think that there's a higher standard that you should be held to, and there's a lack of accountability in our government. Anyways, and so it says, the thing about the not checking the mail and all this kind of stuff. And it goes on to say, even if we were to consider this new argument and evidence on a review, evidence is at most, quote, garden variety, ... This is direct quote from the Merit System Protection Board, excusable neglect, end quote. So they're saying right here, the Merit System Protection Board, an agency of our U.S. government, that it is excusable to neglect clients as a lawyer. That's what the Merit System Protection Board has to say inside of this appeal denial, which is publicly available for the whole world to see. So feel free to Google it if you want. You can read this one and a million others of how people are being harmed day in and day out. So it goes on and on and on, and it talks about this one, which was particularly disturbing. It said, oh, there it was. It cites a case where basically a person too was denied assistance, even though the person bringing forth the appeal was claiming that their lawyer had problems with alcohol and depression, was disbarred, and was under criminal investigation. And they still were not giving this person any assistance. They're like, oh, well, we don't care if your lawyer was disbarred. That's your problem. And so that's the Merit System Protection Board in a nutshell. I mean, this organization is ridiculous and should not be allowed to exist anymore. And oh, by the way, your tax dollars are paying for this organization. I'd just like to let you know. So if this adding insult to injury, they selectively quote me on different things, which is really just par for the course with legal, the legal system and how you can really abuse the legal system to harm people in this country, and how the government definitely is able to do it at will because they control everything. But it says on the very final page of, was it page 6 before it starts talking about appeal rights, which I don't plan to exercise. It says, finally, the appellant has requested that her, quote, name and all identifying information about, end quote, her, quote, be excluded from any public files regarding this matter, end quote. Yeah, that's right. I wanted some privacy. Been put through enough hell, wanted some privacy. And also wasn't informed that this would be a public file until after I filed all the paperwork. And I had no idea what was going to be put out there and what wasn't, because there was a lot of sensitive information involved in this whistleblower retaliation situation. So it goes on to say, a litigant seeking anonymity before the board must present evidence establishing harm is likely, not merely possible, if her name is disclosed. And then it basically makes an excuse about like why this is okay to just blow me off, and it just says denies my request. It's like, it doesn't take a genius to understand that the more information a person has out about themselves in the public eye that's sensitive, that's one internet search away, that it could be and is likely to be harmful. Yet the Merit System Protection Board, a U.S. government agency, still saw fit to stick it to me. Give me the finger, so to speak. And do whatever they want. So like literally this is just on the internet. So I already made a blurb about this in my book, Veterans Affairs Whistleblower Retaliation, in the draft. If I ever get to finally finishing editing it, maybe I'll publish it one day. But I will read you this excerpt before I hop off of here for the night and call it a day. And it is my thoughts on this that I typed up in this draft this evening. Because I really couldn't say it any better at this point. Let me see if there's any comments here. Let's see. Okay. After an agonizingly long period, I finally received the United States of America Merit System Protection Board final order in this month. To no surprise, it turned out to be yet another denial of assistance, just as expected, but honestly, it wouldn't have made a difference anyway. Considering that nearly a decade had slipped by, it's as if they followed the legal maxim, justice delayed is justice denied, with utmost precision. Needless to say, I had long moved on with my life, and I'm sure that every single person involved in the situation had done the same. So what exactly did the Merit System Protection Board think they could accomplish nearly a decade later? The answer is painfully clear. Absolutely nothing. Adding insult to injury, my name stands alone on that wretched document. Despite my request for privacy, it was callously denied. Apparently, everyone else has the right to privacy except for me, which is so true. All the people involved in the situation, people that did things they shouldn't have done, have the right to privacy. I have not. This is just another nauseating betrayal from a government that claims to represent its citizens, but truth be told, this government has rarely truly advocated, if ever, for me or my interests throughout my entire lifetime. I am utterly appalled and disgusted by the abysmal treatment I received from my government. It's an absolute disgrace that despite my unwavering commitment to following every rule and doing everything right, I have been utterly screwed over. Once again, the so-called American dream has revealed itself to be nothing but a steaming pile of lies and deceit. A hollow facade used to manipulate and control the masses. And I will close with that. Have a good night.